Welcome, welcome to week 4 of Journey Club. Welcome, everybody. The art is done by Leonie Dawson. Hi. Ooh. Ha. Hello. There we go. Hi. How are you? It is hot here today, Sean. I have the fan on my computer so it doesn't freeze up. So it is so hot. I mean, 30 degrees in Calgary it's cruel. It's cruel. I can stand 30 degrees in the Okanagan, but when it comes to 30 degrees here, it's just terrible. Might turn off the fan for a bit so you don't get feedback. There we go. Turn that off for a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that is, we've been having some really crazy weather lately where it gets like 30 degrees and stuff and then hot, and then we go into kind of, it's crazy. It's Calgary, so we get miserable weather. So it's 30 degrees. I can handle maybe a little bit more on the island because if I can go to the beach or go to a lake, I'm okay. I'm okay. So I know Cynthia won't be able to join us tonight. It's her husband's birthday. So she's going to watch the replay on this. And yeah, exactly. Here I don't know. Yeah, I guess because we're out in the prairies here and there's really nowhere to escape from the heat. That's the whole thing. If 22 degrees is perfect for Calgary. And I know a lot of people think that's cold. But for Calgary, that's perfect because it's not too hot, not too cold. It's just really nice and we can handle that. So I'm going to wait for a few more minutes. See if Maureen's coming in. She said she got everything. Did you get your oh, there she is. Look at, speak of the devil, and she walks in. Woo! Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Oh, you did get your, okay, perfect. Awesome. So welcome. So it's just you two tonight, which is fine. And Cynthia will watch the replay and stuff. So I'm glad you guys got it. I'm not doing too bad. I think the heat's really drained me today because it's not heat that we're used to. Our house doesn't really get really hot. I mean, it's very open and airy, so it's quite nice. And so it doesn't get overly hot. So that's a really good thing. Plus we have huge pine trees all around the house, which help to, really help with the heat and stuff. So yeah, you're temperature sensitive. I might have to turn the fan on again because my computer, my computer is very sensitive to the heat, and it's been feeling it a little bit more. Yeah, the pine tree. Oh, they're so protective. I think I have 4 big ones in the backyard, and there's 1 big one in the front, 2 big ones in the front. The only thing, grass doesn't really grow under pine trees and stuff. So you just have to go with it. But yeah, some beautiful big trees. All the trees in our area are called protective. They're protected in this area of Calgary. So if there's any building or construction, they can't do anything. So, oh yeah, beautiful ones. I got to turn this back on. Sorry. Let me know if that's too much noise in the background for you guys, okay? So if that's too much noise, let me know. Okay, so I'll try and speak up over the fan. So sorry about that. It's fine. All right, cool. So this week we're diving into forgiveness. So that's what we're going to be diving into. It is one of the hardest things to do, but it's the greatest thing to do for our own well-being. And forgiveness is the most powerful. It is so powerful, but it's very difficult to do. Yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is, the one thing about forgiveness, to forgive is somehow associated with saying that it's all right, that we accept the evil deed, that this is not forgiveness. But that's, that isn't forgiveness. When you to forgive is not accepting what they did. Forgiveness is releasing yourself from the energy that is holding you from moving forward from that situation. That's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness means that you fill yourself with the love and you radiate that outward. Yeah, and it's you refuse to hang on to the venom, the hatred that was so endangered by the behaviors that caused the wounds. So forgiveness is a spiritual act of love for yourself. And okay, so let me repeat that. It's a spiritual act for you. That's what it's for. It's for you. And it sends a message to everyone. Yeah, and that when it comes to abuse, especially as a child, is so, well, one, it's horrific. It is getting to that point of forgiving that energy act. Because when you get to the forgiveness of that act, then you can actually look to see the lineage of where it came from. And you're able to release all of that instead of holding on to the energy of carrying it forward. Because more than likely, you have triggers for holding on to this. And these triggers will set you off in different ways of making you angry, making you upset, etc. So, very much a dry drunk, yeah. Yes, and the impact is like unbounding. I mean, especially when it is abuse. I lived in Penticton. I was raised in Penticton, BC, and the diocese, the Nelson Diocese, was the center for a lot of young boys who were sexually abused by a priest. And the one priest was moved around quite a bit. And he was finally put into our parish. And our parish was the second largest parish in the diocese, St. Anne's. And my mother worked for him because she was the secretary for the church for like 20 years. And going through, I mean, she always joked that she's gone through more priests than she has anybody. How many? I mean, she's had like 20 different priests or more through her time when she was secretary there. And yeah, and the thing is it's horrible to think. I mean, it makes your blood curdle and boil. When he came out, it was huge because, one, the bishop was my dad's best friend growing up in Lethbridge, Alberta. So, so my father started to really question, not necessarily his faith, but his faith in the church was starting to be questioned. And one of the things was, for him, he asked him point blank, how could you have gone into a confessional and confessed your sins, then go back and commit again? Because that was huge. Because my dad, under the belief, once you confess, you don't do it again. That's it, right? And he didn't have an answer for my dad. He couldn't say anything. How he gave himself up, he went to a sabbatical up in Edmonton, and he went into the confessional to confess his sins, and it was one of the archbishops. Was part of the church, okay. Yeah, and it's okay. I understand. I understand totally. And as he was confessing his sins, the bishop came out of the confessional And it was like, he went into the cubicle confessional, opened the door to the other side, and said to him, I'm giving you X amount of time to get back to your diocese, to your church. Call a lawyer, because they will be waiting for you when you get off the plane, because it stops now. That bishop had so much balls to do that. It was huge. And of course he opened a can of worms, which had to be opened. The priest that came in to take over our church was amazing. He was retired. He was about 6'4", and he was in his 70s. And I was part of the youth group at the time, and he had us go and collect rocks. And he said, you guys go outside and I want you to collect rocks. So we're like, okay. So we're collecting rocks, and he wanted rocks at all the entrances of the church. And he said, for everybody who comes in, you hand them a rock. And so we're handing out these rocks to these people coming to Mass. It was really weird. And even before he started the Mass, he looked at everybody, came down, and he was talking right in front of everybody. And he started saying, you're coming here not for me. You're not coming here to church for me. Don't come. If you're here to see me, you can leave. You're not coming to see me. You're coming to see the guy hanging from the cross. That's who you're coming to see. You don't come to church to see me. And he was the very first priest I ever heard say that, right? And then he said, those who are without, look at your neighbor and say, if you are without sin, you throw that rock at your neighbor. And he said, this is the first day of forgiveness, for us to walk forward as a community to heal. And he went on in saying it wasn't easy. He said, this isn't an easy fact. This doesn't mean that he's going to be left off the hook. This means that there is going to be justice that has to be done. And that he will have to be charged and atoned for what he has done. But we as a community must learn how to forgive and not continue that pain within inside ourselves. Otherwise, you shouldn't be coming to Mass. And we were just like, everybody I think was like, wow, this is a priest telling us that we shouldn't be coming to Mass, and that if we're coming to see him, and he was a Monsignor, it was like, don't come to Mass for me, don't come to Mass for this priest, or don't come to Mass because that person is saying it. That's not the reason for coming to it. The reason for coming to it is to celebrate, and it's a celebration. And that was for me that was a very strong moment, in understanding what forgiveness was all about, and understanding that we can't hold on to it, right? We can't hold on to that pain, and we can't hold on to it and then start blaming God or the goddess or the divine or the angels. Because as it happens is that with Father Boyd, what ended up happening, he was actually sexually abused by his cousin. His cousin was sexually abused by his dad. His dad was sexually abused by an uncle. Like, it went on when it all started to come out. And the healing that needed to be done there was huge. And the understanding of what he did was, of course, totally wrong, right? But it was to start on that road. And this is a process of unbinding from old wounds that you don't want to hanging on to them like a prized possession. It means letting go of the language of blame and self-pity and no longer leading. It is. It is. It's one of the most powerful topics. I don't know if I told you guys about the TED Talk I was on with a young girl whose mother was murdered beside her. And she was a young girl, and of course she went through drug abuse and alcohol abuse and sold her body and just so much torment, and she finally got sober, because she could always hear her mother. She finally got sober, got cleaned, did a lot of processing on working on forgiveness, and then she finally went to talk to her father, and she went in there and she forgave him. And she even mentioned to him, she goes, I don't need to see you anymore because I don't need you for anything in my life. My life is fine. But I need to let go of that energy of pain, of hanging on to you. So it means privately forgiving and not asking anyone else to understand. It means leaving behind an eye for an eye attitude that only makes for pain and the need for more revenge, and replacing it with the attitude of love and forgiveness. And you hear it in all the spiritual literature. Wow. That's huge. That is huge. And you really start to question yourself, as a woman, when things like that happen to you, right? And even as a young boy, you question that of your manliness, your manhood and stuff too. I have two friends that were abused by this priest, and how both of them went through some form of alcohol and drug abuse in their life. And really, one has really moved away, from it. Yeah, lots of anger, lots of fear. Trusting is a huge one. It's the violation, right? Addiction issues, yes. Oh yeah, because you're really wanting to hide that pain. You wanting to push it down so that it doesn't come up anymore. So you feel like, you hear people say, I have a right to be upset because I've been treated the way I've been treated. I have a right to be angry, hurt, depressed, and resentful. And learning to avoid this kind of thinking. Yeah, promiscuity, definitely. Oh, all of that comes into play. Sex addiction, that's a huge one. Yeah, and I know Phil, one of the boys, really had that problem. And one of the other young, he's the same age as me, but I see it on his face sometimes. And I think I'm the only one that can pick it out from him, because he'll get this look in his face, and I know it's something that comes up to torment him, and I can see it. And him and I were quite close as teenagers and stuff, and I'd say to him, I said, you got the look in your eye, what's happening? And he'd go, oh, nothing, and push it off. And for him, he really he had to move all the way. He moved out of he moved to Japan and lived in Japan for like 20 plus years before moving back to Canada. And he just couldn't handle just being back into the city of where it all happened for him, until after many years of going through a lot of counseling and stuff. So anytime you're filled with resentment, you're turning the controls of your emotional life over to others to manipulate. So anytime that you're filled with resentment, you're turning the control over. Oh, it does. It does, because it's like, it's the fact of like, if I enjoy it, am I allowed to enjoy it? Am I allowed? Is this, and then the thought, oh my God, how could I enjoy this? Look at what happened. It's just like, oh my God, your brain just goes like in 50 different directions, right? And it's catching those thoughts, and it's catching and removing the resentment and blame from your life. and assigning responsibility, and not and never assigning responsibility to anyone for what you're experiencing. Yeah, it is. And I may not understand why I feel this way, why I have this illness, or why I've been victimized, or why I had the accident, but I am willing to say without guilt or resentment that I own it. And that's the thing, is owning that this is how I feel, this is what I went through, I live with, and I'm responsible for having in my life. Why? Why do this? If you take responsibility for having it, then you have a chance to take the responsibility for removing it. Oh, yeah. And that's a hard, yeah, because, well, even anyone with sexual abuse, anybody who's been abused in any format, there is a fact of saying, well, why did you put yourself in that predicament? Why didn't you say anything? You know, for some girls, it's like, why did you wear that shirt, or why did you do that? It's like, you know, we have this idea, and instead of saying, okay, what happened was wrong, right? Because you feel judged. Yeah, and especially being emasculated, like, oh my God. You know, when a lot of the young boys and the police said that. And that's, I just like, well, okay, should love to punch him in the throat, but we're not going to punch in the throat. But it is so being uneducated, not understanding the full meaning of the violation. And when we are able to take the responsibility for it, we can remove it and we can learn from it. And that's the key. When we're able to recognize it and say, yeah, this happened to me, then the police asked me. Like, really? Oh my God. It just makes your head spin, right? And now for both of you guys are in a much, you know, in a different place in your lives. And this is where you're stepping into of saying, you know, I get what I went through. Text. Oh, okay. What's that? I don't understand what that is. Sorry. I know a lot, but I didn't know that. If I don't know it, I'll tell you. Oh, shooter. Okay. Okay. I see. So, first, you have to get past the blame. Then, you have to learn to send love to all, rather than anger and resentment. Just as no one can define you, neither do you have the privilege of defining anyone else. When you stop judging and simply become an observer, you will know inner peace. You'll find yourself free of negative energy, of resentment, and you'll be able to live a life of contentment. A bonus is that you'll find that others are much more attracted to you. Peaceful attracts peaceful energy. When you feel the peace, then you are allowed, then you can let it go, right? Your resentments literally send God out of your life while you're busy being offended. At the root of virtually all spiritual practices is the notion of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a part of all spiritual practices. And think about every single person who has ever harmed you, cheated you, defrauded you, and said unkind things about you. Your experience of them is nothing more than a thought that you carry around with you. So if you could release them, you would know more peace. So you practice forgiveness for two reasons. To let others know that you no longer wish to be in the state of hostility with them, and free yourself from the self-defeating energy. Sending love in some form to those you feel have wronged you. This doesn't happen overnight. This isn't something where tomorrow morning you're going to say, okay, I'm going to start forgiving everybody. It's a process, right? And it takes time. It takes time. And you got to honor yourself with that. So send love in some form to those you feel have wronged you. When you recognize that choice to forgive does not mean you ignore their part in the situation. It's acknowledging the negativity, then choosing not to get hooked into it. And that's mainly what the Monsignor is saying to the people. It's like, you know what? We're not letting him off the hook. He is going to trial. He is being charged, right? And we're acknowledging it, but we're choosing not to get hooked in it. And that was the first part of it. Bringing the pain to light of existence, our inner silence, teachers' stories no longer serves you. What you are doing when you start to release and forgive, you are letting go of fear. So saying, I'm never upset for the reasons I think. Example, woman returns something and she's all upset. We're not upset for that reason. She's not upset because it didn't work. There's something else that went on that she was upset about. So a lot of times we're not upset for that. There's something else that triggered us. There's an act that happened before that triggered us. And there was a thought that we wanted to do something or be something before that act happened. The biggest part is like when we have people we are angry at, giving them up to the Holy Spirit, thank you, and asking for inner peace and a miracle. Huge. So when you're able to give them up to the Holy Spirit, now if you don't like the word Holy Spirit, you can give them up to the angel, you can give them up to the divine, you can give them up to the universe. Whatever word works for you, and you're asking for the inner peace. That means whoever you feel offended you, you give them up. Because it's not for you to handle them. Let your angels, let your divine, your God, your goddess handle them, right? Then you are being released from those chains. And I am willing to release the wall that I have placed between us. And you say this. I'm willing to release that wall. I'm not going to be bashing my head up against that wall anymore. I'm going to release it and let it go. These are steps. This is why back, and I think in week 2, we started to do the work. In doing the work, it's huge. And it really gets us to a place of where we can let go and let love. So let's see for this. Yeah. And sometimes that's not easy because we still want to control the end result or some result of it. So I'm trying to get up a video here by Byron Katie. I also posted it on my Facebook page. It's releasing to your higher power. And that's a huge one. It's to release it to the higher power. Let's see. Oh, yeah, because otherwise it destroys you. It pulls you down to a depth of where you don't want to be. Oh, this one, oh, that one's too long. I don't want to do a really long one. I'm just looking for a short one. see if this is it. Okay.
Would you read it?
Yes. Hi, Katie. I cannot thank you enough for sharing your wisdom from loving what is with me, a 40-year-old mom who finally removed the painful thoughts haunting me my whole life, going as far back as 30 years. My question is,
can you
how
guys hear
do I
this?
forgive myself? Using your method, inquiry, 4 questions, and turnaround, I have detached myself from so many negative thoughts and forgiven people for any wrongdoing.
Okay, thank
But
you.
when I judge myself with a truth like, I want to forgive myself for my mistakes, I want to not be so hard on myself, or I wish I could love everyone in my life effortlessly, or I wish I had more self-confidence, and the list goes on and on. How do I find this peace in myself? I just don't know. Please share your heart about this. I am stuck.
So you say, I want to forgive myself for my mistakes.
Yes.
So let's look at that one.
That's a huge
So
one.
when I hear that, if I have the thought I want to forgive myself for my mistakes, so I go back to a situation where I made this horrible mistake. Maybe I hurt someone. And maybe they cut me out of their life. And there's nothing I can do to make it right. Maybe they're not speaking to me. And so I go back to that moment in time where I made the mistake, where I did what I did and said what I said. And then I begin to fill in a Judge and Neighbor worksheet. I find one situation where I was hard on myself. Or recall a situation where I was not effortlessly loving someone. Because you say, I wish I could love everyone in my life effortlessly. So I find a moment in time where I wasn't loving someone. Or I was trying to, and so much effort, and I couldn't. And then you say, I wish I had more self-confidence. I go to a situation in time where I had no confidence. I was so uncomfortable. I didn't want to be there. I didn't.
Got bummed out, yes.
Horrible. So I go to that situation. But whatever situation I find, then that's my Judge and Neighbor worksheet. I locate one mistake. I find one situation, let's say where I was hard on myself, or I recall a situation where I was not effortlessly loving it.
So I'm going to just stop this.
And
so the video is about 17 minutes. And I'll post that one up there too. The other one I posted was My Daughter Won't Forgive Me. And that is a very powerful one that Byron Katie does with the work. And I'm just going to close my screen here because the sun just hit at an angle. 1 second. There you go. Thank you. So the thing is that when we're looking at forgiving somebody or forgiving ourselves, we have to look at parts of ourselves out where we would like to release and let go. You could go back to the worksheet, and I believe it's in week 3, week 2 or 3, and it's called The Work. If you can't find it, it's on Byron Katie. I'll put it back. I'll put it up on the Journey Club on Facebook. But to go through it and asking yourself those questions. And remember, when you're asking yourself those questions, you're going back to that one moment in time. That one moment in time when those things happened. And wanting to look at that moment in time and allowing for that releasement. Okay? So right now, what we're going to do a little meditation. And we're going to do a meditation on forgiveness. So I want you to close your eyes and put your hands in prayer position. Okay? And just close your eyes gently. Follow your breath in and out. Just make sure your shoulders are relaxed and your feet are relaxed. Relax your jaw. Just relax. Inner guides, please lead me to know the truth. Lead me to release all attack, fear, judgment, and anger. Help me forgive. I welcome forgiveness as my safety, serenity, and inner peace. I welcome happiness and release. Keep your eyes closed. Continue breathing in and out. In your mind, invite in the image of someone you have been resisting. It could be you. You could put yourself there, a friend, a partner, a lover, anyone you want to have there. See them standing in front of you. And look into their eyes. And this is what we will say. And you can just repeat it in your mind. I am willing to forgive you. I see the truth. And the truth is only love. I choose to see the light in you. The light I see in you is a reflection of my inner light. I choose to forgive. Continue to breathe and release all the tension and any other thoughts that come into mind, and know you are safe. And just let it out. Breathe out, shake out your hands, and open your eyes. That's a pretty simple, but that can be very powerful meditation. Because when you're looking into that person's eyes, and it could be you that you want to forgive, so that could be your reflection you're looking at, right? And for me, when I'm doing things or whatever I'm teaching, I like to make it and break it down to be easy for people to grasp and not to be too abstract and out there. 'Cause sometimes, I know my manifesting this morning was a little bit abstract, but it was allowing things to let go, to choose forgiveness. It is. And for ourselves, because everything is so complex in our lives, right? When you feel the relief, you begin to see the illusion that has kept it alive. To look at the darkness without judgment, and to laugh at the tiny mad idea of separation. Anytime you need help and you feel you are slipping, ask your angels. One of the girls I was just teaching the other day, Reiki and stuff, and she was asking, how can I not hold on to this? And I said, you got to ask your angels, you got to ask your guides. I said, you have this support team around you. And she's like, I never thought about it. She goes, I never thought about having a support team around me. She goes, because sometimes I don't think I feel them. And I said, you don't necessarily need to feel them, but they are there. Even in the most tragic and horrible situations, they are there. And that's mainly with all of us. We are all caught up in that consciousness of, this is what I got to do, this is what I got to do, I got to do it, I got to do it. When we go back and we want to bring it out of the unconscious into the consciousness awareness, we can let it go. Yeah, we do. I call, every time, I call in a billion angels, right? And I do, and I get little, saying, okay, this is what you should be doing. And if I don't do it, it's like, oh shit, you did tell me to do that. So it's trust and be willing to be open, and you will see the walls of defense are no longer needed. And they disappear. In their place is the light of forgiveness, which shines the way to home, and it's never left. It's always there, but we hide it and we stuff it down. So this is no secret, right? This is something that is within all of us to do. Okay? So on page 9 of your handout, we have, this year I want to give myself a gift. And it holds no more power. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, and that's the glory of it. For me, a lot of my forgiveness was around my father. Being a very strong, he was a very wise man, but he could be he was very Irish. He was a dry drunk. But he had me when he was much older than my brothers and sisters. There's 16 or 14 years in between me and the eldest. So just in his attitude and stuff, but in doing the forgiveness, I was able to see where he came from. Being born in the 60s, I was born in the 60s, right? Oh, yeah, they are, because you just, they haven't done that work, right? And I was born in the 60s. My dad was born in 1919. When I sat back and I finally got a realization of, holy shit, look at how much this world has changed. When he was born, the streets of Lethbridge, Alberta weren't even paved properly. Right? Yeah, exactly. The sidewalks were made of wood, and the and his dad came over and to work on the trestle in Lethbridge. So, and his grandfather and stuff. So it was like a time after World War One. You're in the middle of the prairies, Lethbridge, Alberta. He was working in the middle of England at the time. And it was just, wow. Thinking of that, right? No television. They didn't even have a telephone. You told people you're going to arrive on this date. They just expected you to arrive on that date, right? So, the whole world just not the same. So it really made me understand how the difference was for me to, no flying. Yeah, my grandmother landed in Montreal with 5 children and pregnant with my dad, and took a train across Canada with the kids. Yeah, the Pony Express. Snail mail. So it was just incredible, and learning how to let that go and release and that. And plus I was a little bit of a rebellious child. Not as much as my elder brothers and sisters who were children of the 60s. But nonetheless, I was rebellious in a different way, where I questioned everything. And I didn't accept everything at face value. I wanted to know more. And I think that just frustrated my father. But, learned lots. So what are the gifts you want to receive? So look at, we're in June. Yeah, I'll tell my elder brothers and sisters that I got the sign of intelligence. You guys got the height. I got the intelligence. I'm only 5'3". My brothers are 6. My one brother who's passed away now, but he was 6'5", and my sisters are 6 feet tall, and I'm 5'3". Oh God, yeah. But what are the years too? I don't know. Yeah, if they're, yeah, I'm the runt. What is it that you want for yourself this year? You know, when you are releasing, when you're releasing, right? The fury, yeah. You're releasing. What do you want to bring in? Oh, you're the only child. Okay. So, yeah. I'm the youngest of 6. So, craziness. So, what is it that you want to release? And this year, you know, what is it that you want to let go of? And write it down. Now, this, you can copy this out as many times as you want, okay? Or just take a separate. You're the second oldest. Wow. Big fan, yeah. Huge dynamics there. So, the leadership, yes, learning leadership, that's a huge one. So we're going to move on along the road to a little place called Sin and Guilt. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but you can't duck and cover right now. So, but how we can change so we can become 100% for our reality. In studying, in a Hawaiian study, there is a thing called Ho'oponopono. Anything in Hawaii said twice has power. Aloha, aloha has power. Pono has power. Okay? Ho'oponopono process on a daily basis that includes accepting 100% of responsibility for everything being experienced by you. The phrase alone explains the most important perception of Ho'oponopono. Okay? That you are 100% responsible for everything. Everything and everywhere. And it means not only your personal screw-ups and your personal successes. It means if someone somewhere did something and you became aware of that, you're 100% responsible for that. Because we are all connected. Now this is part of the Huna shamanism, which is Hawaiian. They knew from way back 3,000, 4,000 years ago, we're all connected. So if we know that somebody needs something or we're aware of it, we're responsible for it. Help you. Okay, this is okay. This is okay. It's going to be okay, Maureen. It's going to be okay. No, you're not going to go run out and open a soup kitchen. It's okay. All right? Breathe. Yes, breathe. Ho'oponopono is not your free ticket to guilt trip. All right? Being 100% responsible is not the same as feeling infinitely guilty for miseries. It's a reminder of your creative power and gently welcome to return back to your inner nature. Okay? So it's not for you to go take a guilt trip and say, oh my God, I know these starving children in Africa. What am I going to do about it? I just saw them on the news. No. What it is, it's going to give you the creative power, allowing for Ho'oponopono to start working in a very gentle and within your own inner nature. When returning back to that most inner nature, to zero, everything becomes available to you effortlessly. And you are being driven by inspiration from divinity and not by petty ego. Okay? Oops. So Ho'oponopono's petty ego, yes, is the same thing as Eckhart Tolle's names unmanifested. So if you've read anything from Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the unmanifested. In Ho'oponopono and Huna, they talk about it as being the 0 point, back to practical reality. Let's assume 0 is the next great thing after sliced bread, or even before sliced bread. Whatever. How do we get to that magical state? What exactly do you do? This is to achieve by constant cleaning process. Cleaning, actual practice of Ho'oponopono. Cleaning what? You clean yourself from subconscious garbage, programs that run your life without your participation. Ho'oponopono is a process, is very simple. So it's a very simple process. See, I'm bringing things very easy for you. The actual Ho'oponopono cleaning process consists of a repetition of the following phrases. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. The most powerful phrases here are I love you and thank you. The powers of love and gratitude. Clean old recordings. Yes, that's what Ho'oponopono does. It clears out all of this process. It goes through, and it's like you can Ho'oponopono yourself, your friends, your family, your finances, right? And the power of love and gratitude. The unquestionable in every self-empowerment teaching, schools, or religion. What do you say? Who do you say these phrases to? Whoever you just need to do it. The process is as simple as breathing. When you breathe in, breathe out. You clean your body from the processed of polluted air and enrich it with oxygen. Now there's a doctor, Dr. Lee, who is a psychiatrist, and he had studied the practice of Huna shamanism for many, many years, and he became a psychologist and a psychiatrist. And he was put into a ward of some of the most criminally insane ward. And I'm not sure, I don't know if it was Hawaii or if it was stateside. But one of the things that he did when he started there on the ward, he asked his nurse, and she was the secretary, she goes, bring me all the files of everybody who's on the ward, including the people who work here. And she was like, oh, that's an awful lot of files, but okay, she didn't question, so she brought it. And every day he asked her not to be disturbed for at least a good hour, and then he'll do his rounds. So she thought that was kind of odd, because most of the other doctors that came in, they came in and then they left. They did their rounds. He would take in his he went through what he was doing. He was going through every single file and saying Ho'oponopono, saying it 3 times over each person, and then put the file aside. Then Ho'oponopono, 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 put it aside, did it to the next one. After about a week, she wanted to know what the heck was going on. She wanted to know, what are you doing for this hour? And within that, at least the first week, she started noticing a huge difference in the ward on how it felt calmer. There's less outbursts. And she asked him, well, what are you doing? And he said, I'm not only a psychiatrist, I'm also a Huna shaman. And over each person I'm doing Ho'oponopono. And she goes, oh. And he explained it to her. And she goes, can I join you? And he goes, yeah. There's no special training. Here, take this file. Do the Ho'oponopono. And he said, I didn't heal them. I healed a part of myself that created them. And that was his statement. In doing the Ho'oponopono, he wasn't healing them. He was healing himself. Because he knew that there was a part of himself that created this. Everything that happens in our world, there's a part of us that have a belief system that goes into that consciousness of it, right? Egoless, definitely. And the thing is that even with Eckhart Tolle, we don't want to get rid of the ego. We want to be observers of it. We want to observe what is going on. And then we can get into that state where we can release. seeing your relationships as this assignment. There's an H, Ho'onoponopono. Now in my sleep, yes. Once you start saying it, it's very easy. You just get into it, right? And you get very easy to start saying it over and over again. It's like saying chimichanga. Chimichanga is fun to say. Ho'onoponopono. And we use Ho'onoponopono too. Those who have taken the class and that have also taken Reiki, they use Ho'onoponopono in their healing practice also. So when you step up to the bat and say it's time, wow. When you conceal feelings you cannot love. So if you can't love, then you must fear. All relationships are chosen to help us along this path. When you meet someone, remember, this is a holy encounter. Everybody you meet is a holy encounter. When you meet someone, remember this is holy. As you see him and her, see yourself. As you treat them, treat yourself. All the people, a divine connection, definitely. See the love around you. Allow that love to be around you. When you get stuck in ego, you believe everything is random and it just happens. There's no chance encounter. Ho'onoponopono is allowing you to grow spiritually and call upon it. So, because people, they are a mirror. So whatever they're triggering in you, you're triggering in them, right? The mirror goes both ways. When you're having a fight with your spouse or there's something that your spouse says and it gets you upset, remember, they're just triggering you in order for you to love better. So when they're doing that, they're just helping you to love even better. That's what they're trying to make you a better person, even though it might not feel it at the time. But if you are unwilling to learn, we will be on that crazy treadmill like a hamster. You'll be continually on saying, fuck you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I don't want to forgive anybody. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'd rather be on this treadmill. And I don't want that freedom because that's just too much work. It's like when you start exercising, it's like, okay, but wasn't it so much easier sitting on the couch eating the chips? You say to yourself, oh my God, it's so much easier eating these chips, watching this TV. I got to watch the whole series on Netflix. We find that so much easier, right? No more treadmill. Prayer, meditation, strongest tools. They help you to get connected with your inner being. They really help to get you to the guidance and make that shift, the perception, and they create the miracles. When you're wanting to make that miracle and you're wanting to allow it to happen, that's what it is. And mantras, definitely. And it's harder to stay, to stay stuck. Doing the mantras are just huge. Oh, I forgot to post that for you. I'll post the Shreen Breeze one. But even with Deva Permel and doing the mantras, it is a process, right? Sometimes, it's like it feels too much. It feels too much. But it's in order for doing that, it's allowing for that releasement in order for the love to flow in. The love can't flow in when you have armored guards up in front of you constantly. And then you're wondering why things don't flow. Okay? Fear is not real. We choose to separate from the universe, which is the guilt, so that we remain in the crazy nightmare. Each time we look at it directly, we come to know it's not real. The problem is not in them, it is in our minds. Okay? So here we go. Meditation on relationships. So sit back in your seats, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Does she? I got the door closed so the cat can't come in. Plus I'm in the healing room and I don't want the cat in here, so that's one of the big ones. So close your eyes. Begin to breathe in and out. And just relax. Yawn. Just let it all out. Relax. It's been a long day. Identify your most challenging relationship. Invite your inner guide to remind you of your interconnectedness. Whew. That's huge. Now I want you to breathe. And we're going to say, help me see love in this relationship. So breathe in, breathe out. Help me to see love in this relationship. Breathe in, breathe out. I welcome this assignment. Breathe in. Thank you for helping me change my mind about my wrong perceptions and projections. Breathe out. Breathe in. Thank you for sending me what is real. Breathe out. Breathe in. I welcome the holy encounter where I can see this person as my equal. Breathe out. We are both love. And breathe out. Just let it out. Shake it all out. Okay. A little bit of a powerful one, but taking a look at the relationships and thanking them, all of them, the good, the bad. Thank them for opening up for you to see things better, you know, and thanking them for getting you to a place where you are stronger, wiser, and in more of a place of love. So on page 16 there is a sheet here. And in order to know what inner patterns need to be modified, you must identify existing patterns. Categorize them into resourceful and unhealthy. Make a list of what is going on in your main life realms and also of your most central experiences. Then summarize it. So, this is going to be part of your homework. So you go through each one. So we go through family. We'll do an example here. So we got family. What's the main event happening in the family? What is the main experience feeling? So main event. So it could be in our family, the main event is, man, there's so many in my family, I just can't think of it. But I'll pick my eldest son when he was here. So the main event would have been my eldest son living with us. Financial. So with family, financial. Because chaos. The main event in your family is chaos. Okay. So I have finance down there too. So, but just pain. So the main experience in your family is pain. So what can you identify what the event is? So for us, the main event in the family, fatigue, was Dom's behavior, his narcissistic behavior. That was the main thing. And the feeling around it was uncomfortable, chaotic, feeling unawares of what is happening. And is your experience resourceful or unhealthy? And for us, that was unhealthy. So if you say that the main event in my house is fatigue or chaos, what's the main feeling with that? So what are you feeling from that chaos? Are you feeling, is there a part of you that is feeling disruptive? Frustration? Let's see if I can find it. Exhausted. Okay. Let me get my feeling chart up here. Overwhelmed. think I'm going to add this chart into it. Okay. So, if we are feeling mad, part of feeling mad within it. So, we'd be feeling something critical, hateful, selfish, angry, hostile, or hurt. Frustrated. So frustrated, are you feeling angry? Are you feeling selfish? Are you feeling hostile? Because frustration goes into mad. So from the frustration, what is that frustration that you're feeling? Are you feeling helpless? Are you feeling hurt in a way? Are you feeling hostile? So when we look at frustration, unheard, so you're feeling unheard, and how does that feeling unheard make you feel? Okay, when you're angry, okay, so when you are being unheard, does that make you feel angry? It makes you feel unvalued. It makes you feel isolated, helpless, insignificant. All right, bewildered at times because it's like nobody's hearing me. You know. So looking at these things that are making you feel this way. Okay. And your experience, is it resourceful? All of the above. Yeah. Is it resourceful? Okay. Because you're going to go through family, parenthood, career, health, finances. So this is like a huge one, right? To go through and other. So what is the most dominant experience in your life at this time? This is going to be a summary. And what would you like to experience in the future? So when you're looking at everything that's going on, this is to recognize what's happening. So in our family right now, our family's become somewhat dominate my weight. Okay. And how is, and looking at, okay, that's, unhealthy. It's stressful. And what do I want to change from it? So you go through, then you ask the question, what is the most dominant experience in the life at that time? That's what you're asking. And what would you like to experience in the future? How would you like to change it? What would it look like to be different? So, I would like to change the chaos in my family. And I want to change it to what? Because you want to change it from this to this. Right? We know we can identify, but we got to have something to change it to. If you don't have something to change it to, then we're going to have to leave it. So you want to change it to peace. So the chaos in my house, I want to change to peace. All right. Think about that right now. So we're thinking about the chaos in your house or in your life, in your family. So we're going to think about it. Now I want you to take a deep breath in. And let it out. And I want you to ask, you're divine, but I want you to show me my peace. There's chaos happening. Right? Strength and more activity. So as you do that, as you're thinking of the chaos, okay, you're going to just let it go. We're going to hold it on your hand. Breathe in. Divine, I'd like to have peace. Now, in that moment, I want you to see where you can feel peace within. When you can pinpoint the peace within, now take a look at the chaos. You could take a different look at the chaos. It may not be as chaotic. It may be able that, It's gone. So with each one, when you look at it, you look at something to replace it. It reframes it. Yes, exactly. That's how you manifest. It looks smaller. Because now you're in a place of, okay, I'm at peace. Now when you say you're unheard, who do you want to hear you? Oh, you're very welcome. Who do you want? Who in your life do you want them to hear you? Is it your wife? Is it the kids? Is it the neighbor? Is it the guy at the local pub? Who do you want? Who is not listening to you? Your wife is not listening to you. So are you absolutely sure she's not listening to you? And if if you look at it and you're saying, well, no, well, maybe. So sit back and say, okay, what do I want her to hear? What is it that I'm trying? Am I trying to tell her something? I'm not communicating properly. So I'm trying to tell her something. Am I trying to tell her something to improve herself? Or am I trying to fix her or think things could be done differently? Am I accepting her at where she is right now in her life? Okay? So we take a step back. And am I talking to her when it's really not the best time to be talking to her? So she just got in from an event or she just happened something. Same with you. So if she started talking to you and you just got off a road trip and you just got in the door and then she wants to just throw up all over you on, you weren't here when this all happened. And you're like, you're right, I wasn't here. Okay? And you have to look at it, of saying, yeah, but I wasn't here. And then, of course, here comes the clash. Because one, she's, on both facts, timing is everything, definitely. On both facts, is that she wanted you there. You wanted to be there, but you couldn't. And it's like reframing it and saying, I understand. That must have been so frustrating that I wasn't there. It was so frustrating and it's so frustrating for me to be away from you and having to experience that on your own. And that takes that person to step back saying, oh my God, he heard what I said. It's not that she's trying to blame you for not being there, but it's trying to make you be aware of how I'm feeling. And it's like, yeah, I get how you're feeling. Because I was feeling frustrated not to be there. Right? And it's like, all I want to do is be myself, right? And you just let me be myself. And it's like, okay, you're right. I should let you be yourself. You're right. It was frustrating. But when we're not hearing that as we're coming in the door, because we're frustrated, we just had a crazy trip. I had to get on the boat to get across to go from Vancouver back to freaking, the island, or I had to fly back and go through all that chaos of trying to get back home, where I just want to relax and sit back and have a cup of tea or a beer. I really don't want to hear about the chaos yet, right? But when we step back, when she's opening up to you to saying that, it's like, man, thank you. Thank you for bringing that love inside of me. You are showing me that there is love. As crazy as that sounds. And we can make we bring it out in the craziest ways for each other. So it's being in that creativeness, right? And that allows us to be in a different center. And we're not getting drawn into the chaos. Does that help you? I've only learned that after about 30 plus years of marriage. So that comes from experience and learning how to rephrase what I say to my husband. And him learning how to explain, to me. more than words. It does. So, and it does. It makes sense, but it takes time, right? You know, it takes time. It really takes time. But the more you do it, the more you start to see how everything starts to really flow within everything. So I have to move through here quickly because my battery's going to die on my phone here. But it also goes through looking at goals. So I want you guys to look at not only your business goals, but your work goals. What are your goals? Start playing with it. Start daydreaming with it. And what are your creative goals? So for me, one of our goals is, because 10 years ago, we lost everything through a bad deal of mine that I did with my store. I owned a scrapbooking store and I brought in the wrong person. And then through it all, we got involved. We got a phone call and we got into some really crazy debt with some fraudulent credit cards and stuff. And my partner, we were going to start paying everything back. It was about about $50,000 in debt. And I said, this is workable. You know, I said to her, this is workable. We can do this. And we can start paying this back. I know, yikes. She didn't want to. She ended up, because we didn't have a proper deal, she took over the business. She wanted the whole business and wanted to sue me. Right? I went, okay. I wanted to work on it and we could have split the debt 50-50. Right? She didn't want to do that. She wanted the whole business, wanted to do everything herself. And the day that we were supposed to go, the day before we were supposed to go into litigation, I ended up serving her that morning, because litigation was at 11. I served her at 9 a.m. with bankruptcy papers. And went into complete bankruptcy. And with that, we had already lost everything because she took over our account. She took over everything, right? So now, our goals, and this is where my husband is tonight, is that we are wanting to look at, to bring in the prosperity and abundance in our life, and a retirement fund. And one of the things is that we've met a very good friend of mine, Maureen, and another good friend. It's a networking thing. And my husband and I aren't networkers. We're not into networking. But we met, well, Maureen I've known for a couple years now. And she was in a sort of a similar situation. So I said to my husband, go and find out about it tonight. You go find out and find out what you think about it. And it's called Eucenergy? Yeah. And it's skincare. And in fact, it's a skincare product that has been approved by the FDA and approved by Health Canada. Miracle. It's also cut Botox companies in half in the United States. It's taken 50% of their of their profits, of their stuff, just through their cream. The cream rejuvenates, and it does it through a natural process of rejuvenating the cells. It helps with acne and all kinds of stuff. I can send you guys information once I find more about it. But it is an absolutely fabulous product. And so, in the beginning, yes, yeah. And this is a brand new company just starting out. The one girl that is now doing it is Shaklee. My sister does Shaklee. My sister's quite high up in Shaklee. Started it 6 years ago in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and now she's a multi-millionaire. And this is a young farm girl who doesn't believe anything from anybody, but she's and her husband is Australian, and he's an ex-footballer. So finding out information, but that's one of our goals. For us, that's our goal, so that we can become, financially independent, and for me to be able to become even more financially independent, so I can actually invest more into my business, so my business can do even more, and I can do more workshops and stuff, and not constantly worry about or think of how much, finances and this and that. So That's our goal here. So when we put down our goal, I mean, for him and I, that's one of the big goals here, right? I will send you the info when I get it. Spiritual goals. My spiritual goals is to grow, to learn even more, and to have an open mind to what the world has to offer. That is part of my spiritual goals. And to be ever more understanding and loving to others. Because I can be very judgmental. I'm a Scorpio. I'm Irish. I'm French. I can be extremely judgmental and be very hard. And my family and friendship goals are for my family to grow in more harmony and peace, and to find happiness in anything that they do and in all that they do. And for my friends to be happy, healthy, wealthy, right? You're an Irish Virgo. Oh, God bless you, boy. You want everything organized. Oh, I love the Virgo brain. Scorpios actually love Virgos because we love to give you ideas and let you do it. And my personal goals are, yes, are just to allow for my life to grow with more health and happiness, and to become more healthier in all that I do. English and Wells. Oh, you're Virgo too. Two Virgos. Oh, see, I get along with Virgos. I am very good with Virgos. Scorpios just love you guys. So allow yourself to dream, and with it, this is the fun part. This is the fun part, right? Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to go out. And be gentle on yourself, right? Be gentle on yourself this week. Forgiveness isn't easy, And you just have to take it one day at a time. September 21st. Oh, you're a cusp child. That's why, Sean, I could always see. Yeah, because I know you said Virgo, but I could see Libra in you. You got some Libra going in there with you. Because you love things in order, but it's hard for you to make all those decisions on which way it should go. So that's a little bit, that could be, a little bit wishy-washy sometimes for you. Hate to take you in a candy store. You'd have to choose just one thing. Yeah, my youngest, health is a priority. And what, and bringing in that health into your life, and what health means to you. Yeah, I know. It's just I can't choose one. I want, and then you have, it's very difficult. My youngest is a Libra too, so it's he's got those things. But a heart of gold, man. But don't fight with them. Don't argue with them because they get very angry. So, especially when they feel justified. And know that you guys are all amazing. You guys are totally amazing. You're doing awesome, and you're on the right track. And you know that you are great just the way that you are. Totally the way that you are. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able, don't mess with us. That's right. No, because, Libras have a way of, don't mess with us. That's very true. So you got a little bit of homework to do. Do it when you can. I always say the homework's for you. It's not for me. So I don't go around checking everybody's book to see if you got it done. And have a great week. See you tomorrow morning on the Scope. Tomorrow is Intuitive Tuesday, so I'll be doing little readings and stuff. Oh, wow. Whew. You got lots going on there with that Aquarius rising. Aquariuses get along really well with Libras too. They do really well today with that. So you're so welcome. Have a great night. Sleep well. And have a fabulous day. See you tomorrow morning. Intuitive Tuesday. So awesome. I'm so glad. That is so awesome to know. I'm glad. That's what I do. I love helping people. Okay. Oh, I'm down to like 5% on my battery. So I better go. Namaste. Bye-bye.